Welcome to the Citrus County Chronicle Candidate Forum. My name is John Murphy, and I'm the digital director here at the Citrus County Chronicle. You know, for 130 years now, the Citrus County Chronicle has been working hard to bring you the stories that matter to our local community, as well as for the past 40-plus years, we've been doing events just like this, bringing to readers, bringing to the viewers of our website, these opportunities for folks to hear directly from candidates, those folks that are seeking higher office. And so tonight at the dais, we have those folks that are running for the School Board District 2 race. How did we get here? Just a reminder, we have two folks. The incumbent chose not to seek for office, so we had a field of seemingly a whole team of folks that ran to begin with, and because the school board race is a nonpartisan race, you needed to attain 50% of the vote plus one vote to have that vote declared, or have that election declared in the primary. We didn't have that, so the top two vote gators from the primary have now moved on to the general election, and so here we are today. We have Mr. Ken Frank is with us, and we have Victoria Smith. And so for the folks, for our candidates, just again a reminder how this is going to work. We have a series of questions. You'll get 2 minutes to respond to each question. We have a timekeeper that will hold up a sign when there's 30 seconds left. And then you'll have when your time is done, they'll hold up a stop sign for you. So with that, I want to invite up to the lectern editorial board member, Roger Krieger, and he is going to be asking you guys a series of questions. Best of luck.
Welcome. We have a series of 6 questions, and what I'll do is start with one and then switch to the other. We'll move back and forth. Ladies first. We'll start with Victoria.
Okay.
What are the top 3 greatest issues facing public education in Florida?
Top 3.
Top 3 issues facing public education in Florida.
All right. Well, one of the main issues is behaviors. That's a top one. Our behavior issues are out of line right now, so which means then we have a hard time getting teachers, and we're also having a hard time getting bus drivers. So we have a large shortage as well. So since that's top issue is that our discipline issue, that also aligns with our next top issue, which is staff shortage. We just don't have enough staff right now to be able to be in the classrooms, to help our students. And then the third top issue kind of goes along with that as well, and that is making sure that we have the resources available. Because we do not have enough of our staff, we also don't have enough resources to help our students, especially our students that are in the lower tiered, as well as our ESE, our exceptional students, and our 504 students. So that's our top 3 issues.
Ken?
Thank you, Roger, and thank you for being here. I know you guys are dealing with the hurricane like everybody else, and thank you all for tuning in and watching this. So, in my opinion, the top 3 issues that really any school board is facing is growth, retention, and values. And so growth, we're at the crosshairs of growth in the state of Florida and the United States. We've got 1,000 people a day moving into this state, many of them coming here. We've also got many folks that used to live down south in the more metropolis areas, in the urban areas, that have found the nature coast, and they're coming up here, and they're coming up here with families. So that's one of the biggest issues we're facing moving forward. Retention, teacher retention. We're losing almost 10% of our teachers a year, folks. That's a big deal. And if you look at the health of any organization, losing that many folks on a given year is a status of an unhealthy organization. So that needs to be fixed. I've got some ideas how to do that. Last is our traditional values. Our traditional values across the United States are being attacked. I just want to stick to reading, writing, and arithmetic, stick to the basic values, and just teach. And let's not worry about all the fluff that's coming in and all the issues that are facing us from outside forces. Let's just stick to the traditional way of teaching.
Okay. Ken, again, do you support Amendment 1, which would change our current nonpartisan school board elections to partisan elections?
No, I do not. I feel that a school board needs to be nonpartisan. I feel that it is not right to bring partisan politics into school boards in many of the races within Florida. I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay. Victoria?
I also don't support I don't think we should change to anything else but nonpartisan for the same reason that we are the ones that are for our students and our people, our district out there, and that means it's all of them. It's not just a one party. And that also is why the top 3 issues is a problem, again, because of if we went to a partisan, then we would not be able to have the true people that we need in the school board race. We might have just someone winning a Republican. So if one's a Republican and there's a Democrat and that Republican gets the higher votage, like in this race, if we would have gotten it, then we would have had just, or automatically it would have stopped. Well, that's not fair to our public. We need to make sure that our students are being well taken care of, and that means making sure that it's nonpartisan to have everyone across the board have a chance.
Thank you, Victoria. You again. Are you in favor of an elected or appointed school superintendent?
Oh, that's a very good question. So that I have to say that I'm mixed on that. And the reason why is because if you go into some counties that are elected, that are not voted in, that are appointed, that are appointed by the school board, then you have a lot of turnaround. Sometimes that superintendent is constantly, you constantly get a new superintendent. Like in the case of Hernando County. Hernando County always had a change of them. When you have an election, then sometimes, yes, you have the voting coming in and you're able to get that. Everyone has a say into it. But then sometimes you might have someone there for a while that perhaps maybe is not the right person. So I think I would go more for the election like we have now, because here in Citrus County, it's been really working for us, where in having the one where it's appointed, it could be constantly changing.
The way I feel is yes, I support having an elected superintendent. I'm very used to, and in past life and past positions of being appointed by the board. When I was a city manager for Crystal River, we were appointed. If they didn't like me, they'd get rid of me. Thank God they did like me, and I left on my own. But in the case with the school board superintendent, I think it creates a good check and balance between policy and what's happening in the classroom on the forefront, as far as the operational end goes. So having that check and balance from 2 elected bodies, or elected person and elected body, I think is a very healthy thing for an organization.
Hey, Ken. What steps should the district take to ease the current shortage of teachers and bus drivers? Is discipline an issue?
Discipline in the classroom is definitely an issue. What I'm seeing, well, number one, I mentioned earlier, we're losing over 180 teachers a year. 140 of them are just because they're leaving. Our turnover rate is close to 10%, actually over 10%, folks. Not right. What steps we need to do is we need to support the teachers in their classroom, give them more ability to manage their classroom. Because right now, in order for them to bring forth an issue with a student, there's multiple steps they have to take. And we need to stand behind our teachers. What I'm seeing is I think the school board could do a much better job of backing our teachers. They're not always going to make the right decision, but let them learn from that and teach them how to make the right decision. Don't fire them over that. I think teachers are our front line. They're the ones that we rely on to educate our kids. If they're not there, we don't have an educational system. So we've got to learn to back our teachers and give them the resources that they need.
Victoria?
Well, as a teacher, because I am living it all the time, it is a discipline issue, is a problem. And with that, it's also with the school buses. Now, the buses have tried to ease it in some respect, where they now have a different tier of discipline to have the student removed, where before it was quite impossible, or it was harder to get the administrator over there. But they've worked on that. It's still not perfect. In the classroom, same thing. It's not perfect. We, however, do reach out to the parents. There is steps that we have to take, but we have to take those steps. We must reach out first to the parent, and then after we're finished reaching out to the parent, if it still becomes a problem, then we go to our administrator, then we write it up and go to our administrator about it. But if we have a serious situation, it's immediately taken care of. The problem that we're having with the retention, with the behavior problems, is we have too many students that are making false allegations against our staff members. And when they make a false allegation against our staff members, then what happens is then the teacher or the staff member is removed from the situation, which hurts all the students, by the way, because they're not getting the learning they need. But also, too, then the teacher or the staff member is then having to defend themselves, and they feel that they're not being supported. So when they're not feeling they're supported, then they're going to move on to someplace else where they can be. So that's something we need to work on. And again, as a school board member, policies can be written to help fix that. Thank you. So that's what I feel is the biggest issue to help ease. Thank you.
Victoria, up again. If you need these reread, just let me know. This one's kind of long. Since not every kid goes to college, are we preparing those kids adequately through the CTE program? Are you satisfied with the partnership the program has with the business community? It's kind of two-part there.
Okay, so the first part, repeat it one more time though, so I can make sure.
Since not every kid goes to college, are we preparing those kids adequately through the CTE program? Are we satisfied with the partnership the program has with the business community?
All right, perfect. Well, this is something that is really dear to my heart. So our CTE program, I will tell you, is really good, and it's getting better. We just got the construction academy going. However, we're short-staffed with that. We only have one person that's able to deal with it, and all these kids want to get into the program. So our CTE program needs to be built up a little bit more. We need to make sure we have the staff adequately to prepare our students in that. Along with the partnership, I think it can be better. What I would like to see is I would like to see a more internship program with our business partners to where we have our persons that are in the CTE programs or in WTC as well, and they're able to go into a job and work alongside with the business, so that way first of all, they can see, is it something that they want to do? If not, then move on to something else. Or even if they're going towards college, have that as well, so that way in case if they're going, oh no, I want to go into the CTE program. So we want to make sure that there's a mentorship program available dealing with the business partners as well as with our students. That would make it so much better for our students, for our community, and for our businesses.
Ken?
No, the first answer is yes. I think we're doing a fairly good job with our CTE program. I've toured the schools, I've seen the programs. They're doing a very good job. The answer to the second question, I think we're doing a horrible job. When you go talk to the business community, there's not a lot of sense of what's really going on in the schools. And I'll give you a real-world example. Case in point, Crystal River High School has got a dental school set up ready to go. It's gathering dust because they can't get instructors to come in. My wife's an ex-dental instructor, and she's chomping at the bit to help out. And she's already got 3 people lined up that want to come in and help. But there's a big disconnect between the business community and the schools as to making these things kind of happen. Another case in point, I'm an engineer. We hire drafters. There's great drafting programs coming out of the schools. These kids are top-notch. They know how to use the programs real well, but they don't know the real-world applications to it. So there's a big disconnect there. So they're coming out of school almost unhireable. It's a really good life skill to have, what they come out with. It'll prep them for college, but they're not employable coming out of school. But if we were to partner with the business community and give them maybe another class in the Florida Building Code or whatever's lacking in there to make them employable from day one out of school, I think it can work. I'm an ex-chamber member. I was actually on the executive board of the chamber. I'm still very active in the chamber, and I'm very tight with the business community, and I think there's a huge opportunity to connect the business community and our school systems so we can get these kids employable, ready as they leave school.
And the last question. Ken, this year the school earned a B grade from the state. What would it take to earn an A?
I think that goes back to what's happening in the school with the teachers. Number one, you've got to have teachers that are energized, like to come to work, and are ready to go. That just turns into kids wanting to learn. So I think if we could really prop up our teachers, make them want to come to work and not quit, I think that's something that's desperately needed right now. Because the kids, if you got a teacher that they don't want to come to work that day, the kids are going to know it. And if they come in there and there's a teacher that wants to come to work and is really energized about their job, they're going to learn more, and they're going to want to learn. These teachers, we've got to get behind our teachers. We've got to prop them up, give them the tools they need, and make sure that they want to come to work every day.
So this is really into me because I am one of those teachers that have to have the students pass their tests. It's a state test. And so they have to pass it. If they do not pass it, then it reflects on them. It's 30%, since I teach geometry, it's 30% of their grade. If they did not pass the algebra, they have to pass it to graduate. And then it also reflects on me. Do I get highly effective? Do I get effective, or do I needs improvement? Thank goodness I've always had highly effective since I've been teaching for my 26 years. So I'm doing something right. But I enjoy coming to school every day, and even though we have problems with our students, so I don't think it's a problem with the, not enjoying coming to work. It's because we are lacking, our students are lacking in their reading and their arithmetic and their writing. They are coming in with skills that are too low. Their math skills, they don't know how to do some of the math because they're not getting it. There's missteps. In our reading, there's missteps. We have students coming in high school that still cannot read. We need to get back down to the basics in elementary school. We need to make sure that they have the resources available. We need to make sure that we have volunteers coming in to help with that. We need to have aides coming and helping the teachers, because elementary is where it starts. We need to make sure their brains start to develop in the first 5 years of their life, and we need to make sure that they truly understand the foundation. That's what's happening, because we're getting these students coming into our classes, moving up, that are missing skills. And when they're missing skills, they're not going to be able to move forward. And yes, it is also a shortage. We have some students without teachers, and instead they're working on iPad, doing iExcel, or doing the other programs. So there's no teacher really being there. So yes, we also need to have teachers put in there, but we need to get back down to the basics in our elementary school. That's the #1 thing we need to do.
That sums up the questions. Now each of you have 2 minutes to do a summary. We'll start with Victoria.
Oh, me. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Ken Frink. Sorry. All right. So I just want to say that I am a teacher. And I know that sometimes people bring up, well, we already have a teacher on the board. Well, we already have a business person on the board as well as 2 resource officers, and one of them is now in also real estate. Our teacher that is on the board, she's a wonderful person, but she was there before, she was retired before COVID. Things change every year, but especially after COVID. So much things have changed, and I am in there. I breathe it. I talk with them. I'm part of it. You cannot just sit on a board and listen. You have to be in there and know what's going on, and I have that, and I've been doing it for 26 years. I know what we need to do, the changes we need to make, policies we need to change, and policies we need to bring forward. I know what we need to do to bring up our grade. I know what we need to do for the top 3 issues to help that discipline problem. I'm the one that is ready. I am the one that is in the classroom and have been in the classroom. I've been an advocate for our teachers and our support staff for 26 years and for our students. I led professional development, and I still do. I still lead that professional development. I was part of the bargaining. I was part of the budget committee. I have looked at the budget. I have attended every single school board meeting and have spoken at the school board meetings to advocate. I have been part of every single thing, and it was not just when I was president of the Citrus County Education Association, but prior to that. I was asked by the state to come in and help with the testing. I was asked by our district to go to different places. I am the one that is ready. Vote for me, Victoria Smith, on November 5th or before. Thank you.
Ken?
Thank you. #1, thank you for tuning in and listening. This is very important to the Citrus County. I'm just going to paint a bleak picture, a picture of growth. If you look at what's happening in the state of Florida, we've got 1,000 people a day moving into the state. And we've got many of them moving to Citrus County, where the nature coast, they want to be here. We've also got a lot of residents outside of Citrus County that do live in the state now that are moving here because they found our nature coast. They want to leave the hustle and bustle of down south, and they want to be here. And they're bringing kids, so we're going to be busting at the seams pretty soon here. We also need to talk about, as you could see last week, is the impact of natural disasters as we watch several of our schools flood. And currently are unusable right now. They've had to shift students all over the district just to take care of them. It's a huge disruption. I'm the only candidate that has the experience dealing with these monumental issues. I'm the only candidate with decades of experience in budgeting, managing expansions, roadways, utilities, public transportation, you name it. I've been doing this for decades, folks. From my time as assistant county administrator to my time as city manager of the city of Crystal River, where we set groundbreaking policies and made major changes to that city to benefit that city. I am the only candidate prepared who has prepared, presented, managed, and been held accountable for budgets in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And folks, these are your tax dollars. I know how to manage them. I know how to safeguard them. You have my word. They're safe with me. Now let's talk a little bit more about growth. We need to have, in order to plan for growth, we have to have a happy workforce and ensure that our teachers are well taken care of. So that is one big thing that I want to do, is make sure they're taken care of. And why is serving on the school board so important to me? Folks, it's about our kids, it's about their future, and most importantly, it's about our future, because they're going to be taking care of us one day. Our school system has been incredibly good to me and my family. I've got 4 generations of my family that have either benefited from or currently benefiting from being in the school system. It's been very good to me. It's my turn to give back to the community. So remember to think Frink and vote Ken Frink on November 5th when you vote for Citrus County School Board. Thank you.